everyone, I hope you're all awesome. We're going to do a longer video today. I'm just going to dial in some presets on the Axe FX3. No real rhyme or reason other than the Cygnus firmware. All the amp modeling has changed, so I'm going to dial in all of my presets again. I figured I would show you all a little bit of the process. So let's start with the Strat. I want a kind of Fender preset. I like the Band Commander amp model, and I'm going to go with probably the same cab across all my presets. This is one of my own cabs, LT-TV Mix 7, available for free on Exchange. I haven't touched the preamp section just yet. Let's just have a listen to where we're at the moment on the neck pickup. That's already pretty much what I want out of a clean Fender style amp, even though it is a little bit gritty at the moment. So can't really think of anything I want to touch there. Maybe in the speaker drive tab. It's called Speaker Dynamics in this older version of Axe Edit. I believe it's speaker compression on the hardware. Let's turn that up to about 3. Turning that up feels really good under my fingers. I don't think I have to touch anything else on this. I'm pretty happy with that as a core tone. So the first thing I would add with any of these presets, especially if it's a clean sound, is some ambiance. Let's put a reverb block right at the end here. And I wouldn't mind having a couple of different reverb choices, maybe a kind of shorter, roomier style thing, and then a bigger, like hall ambient style thing. Let's just hear where we're at with medium room. All right, I know I like London Plate as a reverb when I turn the time down a little bit, so let's maybe go for 1.5 right there. It's a nice darker sounding reverb. In the reverb EQ, recently I've been setting the low cut about 150, 200 hertz just to clean the low end up a bit. Let's hear that. I like that. The low end's just a little less congested there. And I want a big reverb. At the moment, I have been digging the chorus hall reverb. Turn the mix up a little bit. I'll cut even more low end here though. I'll set that at 200. Let's have a listen to that. That one's really nice. I'm actually going to play around with the modulation on this one. See, the depth is quite high. I'm actually going to turn it up a bit more, turn the rate up a little bit, just so I can hear a little bit more of that modulation on the reverb. Excuse my clicky knee as well. I like that as a big reverb. Let's roll with that. And I should mention I've got my FC12 in front of me, and the way I have the FC controller's effects layout set at the moment, where are we? Effects number 1. So the reverb, if I press it and hold it, it will toggle the channels. You can see there the hold function. Toggles between channel A and channel B. So I can sit here, and if I press and hold that reverb, it will swap between London Plate, nice shorter, darker reverb, and the chorus hall, my big ambient reverb. I like it. Let's roll with the old London Plate for now. The next thing that I want is a compressor. So I started in the middle, I went to one end, I'm gonna go to the other end. First thing in the chain, let's add a compressor. And I love this JFET compressor. I've got a block that I've just called Cali 76 for some sort of really fast attack time 1176 style stuff. This is what it does to what we've got at the moment. All right, I'm digging this already. Next thing, I'm gonna do a drive, probably as the thing right before the amp. Plenty of great drive options in here. How many drive blocks do we have? 57. With Fender amps, there's a couple that I really like, namely, if I wanna turn that Fender into a Marshall style thing, I would use a compulsion distortions, but I want it to be really Fender-y. So I'm gonna go tone of kings, and with this one, I just kind of set the drive and the level at about 3 o'clock. It gives me this. Now, similar to the reverb, I have my effects layout. I've got a channel toggle when I hold the drive block. So it would be cool to have a channel B for the drive block. Let's go for something different. Octave distortion is always fun. Drive all the way up, tone down a little bit, play up high on the neck pickup. And if you turn your tone controls down as well, that's pretty fun. Yeah, let's roll with that. I like that a lot. I will stick with the tone of kings, and I'll arrange this into scenes in a second. Next thing, let's add some delay, because delay is it my favorite cheat code, or is wah my favorite cheat code? They can both be my favorite cheat code. I'm gonna go with the, what could we do? Been digging the mono tape recently and the stereo BBD. I guess we can have up to 4 channels, so no need to restrict ourselves, but there's a little hack with a mono tape where you can turn up the level on the second head and you can pan it. So we go left and right. The head ratio is already at 75%. I want this synced to the tap tempo, so I'll set head 1 as a quarter note. I might bring this parameter up the mix just a little bit. So I've got a pretty instant, awesome dual delay now. Maybe I will bring the mix down just a little bit on that one. Otherwise, it's sounding pretty slamming. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so the other option that I want in my delay, and this preset is going to serve as a template for most of the other presets I'm going to do in this video. Let's go stereo BBD. I love that one. Basically the same sort of dual delay. Let's go 75% for the left-right time ratio. I'll bring the mix up. And I'm going to turn the modulation up a little bit. I've just been liking these particular settings. 0.7 hertz, and then you kind of bring the depth up to around 50% for a nice modulated delay. Let's check that out. That's a lot darker than the tape. I think the mix is a lot lower, a little bit lower anyway. So yeah, this is like an ambient style delay. I love this on lead stuff as well. When I dial up a dirty amp, we'll hear it there, but And then if I add that chorus hall reverb, that's super, super sweet. So let's just add some kind of finishing touches. I want a few every now and then style blocks. I'm going to save scene 1 with the reverb on channel A. Let's do that. And then I want a multi-delay, I want a plex delay, I want a rotary, I want some wobbly stuff in there as well. Maybe a pitch detune as well. I'm going to do most of this using my blocks library really quickly. So let's split off in parallel here from the delay block. And, you know, I love the Lexicon PCM 70 style delays, and there were some great blocks put up on the forum recently. So multi-tap delay here, multi-tap delay here. This is overkill, but you know, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. I want the Lexicon pan delays here. See the settings there. And I want the circular delays over here. I think this is the block. That's the one we want. So if I add these two together, we get this. Awesome. So I'll just bypass those for now. I can activate them again from the FC12. Maybe, do I want it in parallel or do I want it after the delays? I want some pitch detune. So let's do it in parallel just cause. And I have these kind of SPX style detune settings dialed in. I'll show you them really quickly. I call them the session detune. What do we got? We have 13 cents on one side, minus 11 on the other side. What else do we have? I might set the input mode to stereo because I might put a chorus up here, and a little bit of delay on either side. Bypass mode I should set to mute effects in, mix to 100%. We get this. Yeah, for some of that kind of 80s cheese right there. Let's bypass it for now. And I said I wanted a plex block as well. Where are we at in terms of CPU? 50 to 54%. That's pretty darn awesome. Do I want to be able to run my plex into my reverb? No, I'm going to do this in parallel as well. So right at the end, we will add a plex delay block, but I want to use this for the plex reverb, which is one of my favorite sounding reverbs ever. So let's go mix all the way up, bypass mode, mute effects in because it's in parallel. I'm going to turn the input gain down, say to 50%. I might even move my keyboard over to my little desk here as well so I can do that. And let's do this. Let's bring the high cut down and the low cut up on the plex verb. Everything else pretty much stuck. I'll bring the mix on the diffusion up. We get this amazing sounding ambient reverb. That one is a keeper right there. Plex reverb, it's so good. It's like the best reverb, but it's not in the reverb block. So again, I'll organize this into scenes later, or maybe not. Maybe I'll just leave all the effects off by default and leave on the effects layout on my FC and just kind of use it like a pedal board. That's part of the fun. Now, I said I wanted some kind of wobble. So first thing I want a chorus before all of this stuff. And again, two different choruses. I have the kind of tri-chorus settings already dialed in right here. Let's have a listen to how this sounds. And on the second channel, I want a dimension style thing. So let's just reset this channel really quickly. And I am going to go with dimension 2, rate at 0.5. And that's probably where I want it. I dig that. Two choruses there. Again, the same kind of tap and hold thing available on the FC. And what I'm going to do for wobble is put a rotary before the amp. I know that kind of seems crazy. You lose some of the stereo effect, but literally the rotary at stock settings is amazing. So that chorus and that detune are very late 80s, you know, every pop song, Michael Thompson, Michael Landau, whereas this rotary thing to me is like a super kind of, you know, late 90s, early 2000s thing. You would put this on guitar overdubs, and I put it on guitar overdubs all the time. Literally don't do anything else except just put the rotary block in. That is so disgusting and stanky right there. All right, we got the rotary. Anything else I would want to put in this? This is basically going to serve as my template as well. So need a wah. Wah is always good. I'll show you my kind of go-to wah thing. I like starting with the Crybaby, and I just bring the minimum, no, not the minimum, the maximum frequency down to about 1500 hertz. And I like to turn the fat up. That's a kind of clean blend, so you get a little bit more of your clean blend in there, and I bring the level up to 0. Now what I need to do is map this to my expression pedal, which is FC1, pedal number 1, auto engage. Let's make it a medium speed so that if the pedal's unplugged, it's not going to accidentally auto engage. And I want the off value to 95% because, again, I'm like a Crybaby wah guy, not a Morley wah guy. So let's start there. That will do me for a wah right there. Do I need anything else? I do like phasers, so I'm going to put a phaser in here. Number 1, stripe 90, right down. I know this is going to sound good. And on the second channel, let's go for the FAS vibe. Bit more of a wobbly thing happening here, bit of that Bridger size vibe. I'll put on my Tone of Kings. No, wait, that's a delay. I want the drive. Let's do, oh, I can scroll through 4 channels of drive there. Maybe I should set that up. Alrighty, let's have a listen to the FAS vibe. That makes me happy. Like I said, I can scroll through 4 channels on the drive block if I want. So let's make one of these. We'll go for that OCD thing. I'll just turn the drive down a little bit. I'll turn the phaser off as well. Wicked. I like that. And let's go for a super disgusting one here. Maybe I'll use the face fuzz. Drive all the way up. I'm going to turn the compressor off for this one. And I filled up most of the slots in there. There's, if I wanted to, I've got CPU to burn, and I could add 2 blocks in here. I don't think I'd ever actually turn them on though, because it's kind of looking like my 12 buttons on my effects layout are filled out. What do I have? Rotary, plex, pitch, chorus, compressor, phaser. I've got all my kind of go-tos there. So I'm going to save this, and I'm not going to organize it into scenes. The idea with this one is that it's just the clean amp sound as basically the pedal platform. FC12 is like a big pedal board, and I can turn things on and off at will. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to save this preset to the next preset right here. I've kind of got most of my effects blocks in place and dialed in, but what I want to do here is dial in like a kind of hot rodded Marshall crunch. So let's do that. I'm going to use the probably the Cameron CCV for that, but to do that I'm going to swap guitars as well. Alrighty, let's play around with the amp block now. I have saved this preset, so I'm going to rename it. I'll just call it Crunch, even though I'm probably not going to use a Marshall specific model for this. I'll bring the speaker dynamics down as well. So let's go for maybe my favorite hot rodded Marshall. It was the Atomica High for a long time, but we'll go with the CCV based on a Cameron CCV. We'll start with 2A. Let's check this out at stock settings. That's pretty awesome. What reverb do I have? London Plate. I'm going to bring the mix on that one down a bit, and I'm going to bring the level up in the amp block. This one has, in the Ideal tab, you can see the saturation switch is on. The CCV is what might be referred to as a Jose-style modded Marshall circuit, where you have clipping diodes in there, normally Zenas, but I think you can also use transistors and a bunch of other stuff. If you check out my video with the Cherrytone Molecular, it's kind of got a similar thing going on. The Molecular is based on the Atomica, not the CCV, but you know, they're very, very similar. All right, I'm just going to bring the drive down a little bit on this to start with. Let's have a listen to it. Okay, for this amp model, I think what I'm going to do is actually get into the cab block, and I will play around with the low cut and the high cut. I'm going to set the low cut to, let's start at 80 Hertz. That's kind of my default. And high cut 10. Hopefully I did 10,000 and not 1,000. Awesome. I like that a bit more. There is a little less fizz going on, but otherwise, I think it sounds pretty awesome. What I like to do with high gain amps is play around with the speaker impedance curve. My favorite one is this 4x12 5153. Check out what it does. Awesome. I don't know if I tuned this guitar before I picked it up. I should say, I can't remember the last time I tuned this guitar. I didn't tune it before I picked it up, but it's holding out okay at the moment. So if it starts to go out of tune, I apologize in advance. So kind of a similar idea. All I would do is just tweak the mix on some of these effects blocks. So one thing I like is with the delay, maybe I'll have some ducking delay in here, and maybe, now let's have a listen to how this mono tape sounds, and then I'll just maybe add a bit of ducking in here so that if I'm playing some lead stuff, the delay is not super in the way. Okay, definitely add some ducking. A release time of around 120 milliseconds is normally what I go for. Let's go for, say, 12 dB of attenuation. Check it out. Could probably compensate by bringing the mix up there as well. Let's check that out. I like that. I really like the way the delay swells up there. So my kind of reference, like, you know, kind of Marshall, really cooking sort of tone is always Michael Schenker's. So we've got that going on. The wah is going to be nice with this. Let's tweak out the drive blocks. I don't want the Tone of Kings. Let's have a Boss Super Overdrive model as one of the options, and just to really kind of push the gain, we'll go for those settings. Let's hear this. We've got the circular delays on there. We got the mono tape happening. I really like the Super Overdrive, and I know it's way more saturated than an early 80s MSG album, but you know, that was just a starting point as a reference. It would be cool with this. Maybe we'll add the precision drive as well. Kind of like the octave distortion. I do like the octave distortion. I'm going to change this drive block here. Let's swap that for the precision drive. Drive low. I like to turn the attack and the bright down a bit, level up. Let's just see if this gets nice and sharp. Could probably adjust the gate on that if I wanted some super chugs, but I reckon for this kind of thing, I'm gonna live with the super OD on there. I can't really think of anything else I wanna add. Let's just audition. I probably don't need a compressor in here, so let's shunt that. Actually, let's leave it. I can just leave it off, and then maybe what I'll do is I will turn the level right up so this can be an alternative boost. I'll turn the drive off and the compressor on as a boost. That gets a bit noisy, but that's it makes it so easy to play lead stuff right there. So yeah, that's cool. Let's hear the phaser. I think I'm really going to like the vibe into this as well as the phase 90. I think this is the vibe to start with, yeah. Pretty stoked on that. Let's hear the chorus really quickly as well. This is the dimension. I love the dimension as a subtle embiggening effect, as I like to call it. One thing I might add here, actually, is I've got this kind of flanger block. Well, it is a flanger block dialed in for the old Yamaha SPX90 Symphonic settings. I have it saved here, SPX90 Symphonic. So you can see rate at 0.7, bit of feedback, bit of manual. I kind of reverse engineered this from my SPX90 and from reading the manual. There is a stereo flanger in the SPX90, and then the symphonic mode is basically the same algorithm, just with a fixed, I forget what it is, fixed delay time or fixed something. There's 2 controls on symphonic, there's 4 for the stereo flanger. So this one is awesome for your kind of Zakk Wylde thing if you don't want to use the dimension. Let me tune my guitar real quick. Pretty stoked with that. You can hear the difference between the flanger and the chorus right there. The dimension is a lot more subtle. These symphonic settings are way more over the top. I'm pretty happy with that as a kind of stock crunchy Marshall preset. What I want to do next is I want to do the boogie thing with my PRS. All right, I am basically just going to change the amp in this particular preset. I was pretty happy with where my effects were sitting in the previous preset. So let's do this. Let's reset the amp channel and let's bring up the USA Lead mid-gain model. This is my favorite amp model of all time. I use it in my live presets. Let's bring the bass down, the mid-range down, the treble up. I like to dip the presence on this one and bring the master down just a little bit as well, kind of below 3.5. And then we do the boogie, smile thing where let's bring 750 down. I like to bring 250 down, really boost 80 hertz. That car driving past likes that I boosted 80 hertz. Sounded like they boosted 80 hertz as well. And let's add a bit of 2200 in there. So this is my kind of straight up Mark IV style settings. Let's check it out. This makes life worth living. This is so good. I love the way that sounds. Pretty happy with that. Maybe add a little bit of treble. With a Mark series amp, bass, middle, and treble are pre-gain. So turning up the treble is like a second gain control on there. It's not doing what you would expect on a kind of Marshall style tone stack. Bit more input drive. Awesome, I like that a lot. A few little tweaks in here. Again, we'll go and change the speaker to the 5153 impedance curve. Just tightens up that low end a lot right there. I like to bring the speaker compression, or dynamics as it's called in this old version of Axe Edit, up a little bit. More of a feel thing than a tone thing. And one little tweak is this transformer drive in the power amp section. Let's have a listen to what that does. That's so much fun. Let's do one last thing. I like the option of having a control switch to turn on the amp input boost as well as the fat switch. So let's go right click, control switch number 1. I like both of them on at the same time, so I'll use the same control switch. And we'll go input boost, and there's this new shred boost in here, which may have actually one-upped my previous favorite boost, the CC boost. So let's go for the shred boost there. Another little tweak here is to turn the low cut frequency in the preamp tab up. So before we hear the fat and the drive, let's have a listen to what that does. Gets you more of that kind of woody, early Dream Theater Mark series thing. I'm not playing one of those old Petrucci Ibanez's or a Music Man, and I'm in drop C as well. So kind of the input characteristics of this guitar are very different to something you would get in that setting. I find turning up the low cut frequency just helps in that regard. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a control switch that overrides one of these. Which one should it be? I can't think of anything that I don't want to put on. The drive, let's do that. So let's go per preset FC, let's go category control switch 1, I want it to be latching, and let's go FC controllers down here, I'll go per preset override. Per preset number 1, I can turn my control switch on that way. Otherwise, I could set up scenes and have control switch be on and off per scene. So let's check out what the control switch does. Yeah, the fat switch and the shred boost and the delay and the wah, they are the cheat codes right there. Am I done? I don't know. Do you still want to watch? You can always stop at any time. I want to do one more preset here, and yeah, maybe I'll just do it and then show you all so we don't have to go through this whole process again. It's very similar, but I want a Voxy style thing, and I've really been enjoying the Matchbox D30 as it's called in here, so the matchless DC30. I'm gonna grab my telly for this though, because the telly doesn't get enough love on this channel, and we'll bring that up and we'll do the thing. Let's hear it. Right on, this is the amp model. I've just, again, saved that preset to a new location. I should call this one maybe Chime. Let's do that. Matchbox D30 EF86. Now, this is a pretty simple one to dial in. You have input drive, tone, high cut, and master volume. Let's just have a listen to the stock settings. So a little less drive, and then I'm going to turn the tone control down, which is weird because normally you want more tone, right? But bring it down to about 2 really kind of cleans up the low end. That's already sounding awesome. It's a little bit zingy, so I'll bring up a bit of high cut. That's the kind of grit I like. Let's do this. I mean, there are some really good factory Alnico blue captures in there, but the best Vox I ever played had greenbacks in it, so I kind of feel vindicated in using my greenback cab IR on everything. Let's bring the speaker drive up, though. I said speaker drive, I meant speaker compression or speaker dynamics as it's called in this version of Axe Edit. That's pretty awesome. I really like that. Wouldn't mind my compressor back on, maybe with the level a little bit lower. Now, of course, we should have a slapback delay dialed in for this. I'll change my mono tape to, let's do this. Let's make it a 16th note delay. Not a 16th note dotted delay, but just a 16th. Let's hear that. That'll do. I mean, ideally, I should probably put that before the amp, but, you know, let's roll with that. And instead of a chorus, I want a trem. Let's get the bias trem happening. Where's T for trem? All the way down here. Yeah, so the bias trem, basically the same trem you get in the amp block. Let's have a listen to that. Sick. And the last thing I'll do is just kind of grab a drive that's going to suit something like this. You know, the Shimmer drive is a really good one. This is a kind of Fractal original, so let's check that out. And I'll probably probably just roll with the rest. Maybe the option of having a spring reverb. Let's do the deluxe spring. That might be a cool one to have instead of London. That's really cool. And then with the trem on there, and maybe I'll turn the drive off. Let's check this out. I remember that was the first song I ever learned how to play on guitar, and it immediately comes out when I hear a bit of spring reverb and stuff like that. All right, now I can work with this. I'm going to do a little bit more work on these presets, and I will do my best to post them up and share them. Thanks so much for sitting through such a long video. I really hope you learnt something along the way. I hope it was somewhat enjoyable. And if you got any questions, comments, or suggestions, leave them in the comment section below. If you want to support me on Patreon or buy some music that I made with my band Ragdoll, this band, I'm wearing my own shirt, what a dork. There are links in the video description right below. If you want to come and talk about this on Discord, you can do that as well. There is a link in the video description. Thanks so much for watching again. Stay safe, be good to one another. I'll see you all next time.